little recap about inheritance. Let's have a little recap. If you are making use of a parent behavior as well as a parent's attributes, or you can call a state or properties, if you are making use of the parent, that's called inheritance. That is called is a relation. That is called is a relation. You are trying to making use of your parent properties. You are creating an object from the existing object, or you are extending the functionalities of an existing class, right? So that is called inheritance. That's called inheritance. When you have a parent child relation, when you have a parent child relation, that that is called is a relation. That is called is a relation. When you have a parent child relation, that is called is a relation. So here yesterday we have taken something called parent and we have created some subclass, right? So this is called a relation called as is a relation. What is a relation? Try to understand more in detail. Okay, let's clear this. Easy relation. What is easy relation? Easy relation is something like when you have a parent-child relation. Let's look at a simple example. I have a class called pen. It has a ID, name, color, and name is nothing but a company name. Let's assume that. Now I'm creating from here class. I'm creating from here class ball pen extends pen. He can have his own properties like a ball pen ID, ball pen name. So you can have like say let's say ball pen ID, ball pen ID, his name, he can have his color, or he can have his own like functionalities are like right. So he can have his own properties. So you can have one more class like ink pen, extends pen. Okay, he can have his own properties. Let's say you can have one more class saying that gel pen extends pen. So what does it mean? So here there is a relation between ball pen to pen, ink pen to pen, gel pen to pen. What is this relation? Ball pen is a pen. Because why it is coming as is a relation? Because here they have something called parent-child relation. Parent-child relation. Ball pen is a pen, ink pen is a pen, gel pen is a pen. Like if you take if any other um, if you want any other example, let's say you have a car. Let's say different cars like a BMW, Chrysler, Audi, Porsche, or Marutis. For anything you can take Ford. So what they are a childs of a car class where the BMW is a car, BMW car is a car, Maruti car is a car, Ford car is a car. So when you see a relation between child and parent relation, when you see child and parent relation, that is we'll call as a easy relationship. In easy relationship, what you can do, you can make use of your parents' property. Clear, guys? Any doubt about easy relation? We have seen yesterday there are multiple types of inheritance. There are multiple type of inheritance. Yes or no? So those all comes under easy relation. Those all comes under easy relation. Whatever we have seen yesterday all comes under easy relation. There is something called has a relation. There is something called has a relation. What is a has a relation? Is everyone clear about the easy relation? This is called has a relation. This is has a relation. What is a has a relation? Let's very simple one. Let's take I have one class address. I have street, city, country, pin, and I have another class employee or student, whatever it is. In this I have employee ID, employee name, employee ID, employee name, salary. Along with that I have something called address add. I have something called address add. Now here your employee has an address. Employee has an address. Employee has a address. So he is not extending. There is no parent-child relation here. There is no parent-child relation here. There is no parent-child relation here. But your employee has a type of address. Address is nothing but a type, like how you declare int, how you declare string. The same way here, the add is a variable is declared by using a data type as a address. Data type as a address. The data type as a address. Understand, guys? Are you guys able to follow? So I have a separate class. I have a separate class, and that reference I'm using in other class, that is called has a relation. That is called has a relation. You can have any type of, you can have any type of relation like this. Let's say you have a address and employee. You can have something called you can take anything, guys. So where you can find has a relation. Let's look at a simple example. I'm going to create address class. Address. Either you can have a main method. If you want, you can have a comments, whatever you want you can have in this class. No problem at all. Let's say I'm going to create an address into house number, or you can have a string. So some house numbers will start with alphanumeric. You can say if you feel that you're gonna have a house number, street number, you can have a street number, you can have a street name, you can have a street name, you can have a city, you can have a country, city, state, country. You can have a state as well. and you can have pin code. You can have a pin code. So here you can have your own functionalities. You can have whatever, right? Here, no problem at all. You can have your own constructors. How to generate a constructor? Source generate constructor. If you don't want to write manually, you can go to source, under that generate constructor using fields, because there are some fields in our class, right? Like house number, street number, street name, city, state, country, pin. So you can create a constructor. Just say okay. So the constructor will be created. Constructor is created. If you see here, the constructor is created, right? So you don't worry about the super. We'll talk about the super. I'll explain what is a super. Okay, I'll explain now itself. So you got the house numbers, street numbers, see all the fields you have assigned here. And when you want to print, guys, this is very much important. Please make a note of it. If you want to print your object, into console or into log file, you need to convert that object as string. You cannot directly print any of the object. I'll just show you a simple example. Okay, let's look at here. Address. I'm creating some simple address here. My address, new address. It is expecting house number, so which is alphanumeric. You can say H44. The street number, which is number 44. Street name, you can give I'm just giving some city. Okay, it has to be in double quotes. State Karnataka, country India, pin is a long number 560016. Right now, if I print this, try to understand, guys. So if I want to print this object, address equal to, if I try to print this object, let's look at here what is happening. Does it printed your house number, street number and all? No. It is specifying address at some location. This is called hash code. We'll talk more about it later. It is not printing. So actually your address is an object. We cannot print object directly into the console or into a log files. We cannot print your objects into a console, or we cannot print directly into log file. To do that, to print that, because your println method expects only strings. Okay, your println method expects the strings. To understand that, to convert your object into a string, you need to override some method called toString method. Go to source again, source, generate toString. What it is doing here, this is address, house number is this, street number is this, street name is this, like that it will print. Now look at, I won't do anything, I just overridden because I not even hard coded this, because I just generated by using a tool. your Eclipse tool help you to generate some codes perfectly. Okay, so right click, run as Java application. Now here, address, house number is this, street number is this, street name is this, city is this. So clearly it has printed all the details. Now when I look at this object here, I'm able to make out something. Okay, this object is contains these values. So that's why your toString method is meant for to convert your objects into object states. Only object states, guys. You cannot print the methods. Only object states. States means these are the values. Object properties. Your object state is converted into string type. Your object state into convert into string type. So to demonstrate that, I have mentioned this because I'm going to print in a as a relation. I'm going to print something, your address details. So that's why I have demonstrated this. Okay, so let's have one more class, which is address, our employee or student, whatever it is. I'm going to create another class, employee. I need a main method. Finish this. The employee, I'm not extending anything because I don't want to extend. Okay, I'm not extending the address class. Try to look at, guys. Here I'm going to int id string emp name double salary address emp address emp address. If you look at here, I'm creating reference object. Okay, so right click, because we need to generate a constructor, right, to assign the values, to initialize the values. Source constructor using fields. Okay, the constructor is generated. The constructor is generated. Forget about the super. I'll tell you about the super. And now if I want to create employee object, if I want to create employee object, I have to create ID. Should have a name, salary, and address. I should have this, right? So what I will do, because first I need address. First thing I need address. I'm just taking an address here because I don't want to write a couple of times. That's why I'm creating one address. Now I'm going to create employee. Let's look at, guys. Employee Ravi equal to new employee of, his ID is 101, name is Veera Ravi, salary can take some number, and address. Here the address has to be object type, my address. Okay, now I just want to print this Ravi object. Let's try to look at, guys, one more time. I'm going to print employee equal to let's try to print this. What did happen? It is not also printing because Employee also an object. So what I need to do? I need to override toString method. Source generate toString. Generate toString. Let's look at inherited methods. So here employee ID is this, name is this, salary is this, address is already available, so I don't need to. I'm printing here, so I know no need to write like again address dot ID, address dot street name, address dot. I don't need to write it. Why? Because I already have that. So the get class and all is not required for me. So I'll just remove them. Get this get class and all is not required. Get class this and all is not required for me. I just need ID, name, and salary in this. Now just try to print this. Employee ID, name, salary, and when you see address, address also printed is a house number, fourth class, and all those things. So that's the functionality of the toString, guys. ToString is, try to remember, toString is required to, if you want to convert your object state into a string, yes, we need to convert a toString. Okay, the concept is here has a relation. Try to understand has a relation now. So your address is a different class, different instance, and your employee is a different instance or different class. So in one object you are referring another object. In one object you are referring another object. It means your employee has an address. Your employee has an address. These kind of relations are called has a relation. This type of relations we call has a relation. Any doubts? Any doubts? Ganesh, Anisha, Kishore, others, Krishna, about has a relation. It's also a type of inheritance, but it's not actually comes under inheritance. This kind of a relation. Vaishnavi, Masood, are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, Vira. Understood.
Okay. So any doubts, guys? Others? Masood, Vaishnavi, could you please explain me what is the has a relation? I just want to understand what you guys understood. Vaishnavi, Sunil, Krishna. Krishna, could you please explain me what you understand about has a relation? Okay. Krishna, Krishna, are you there? Okay. Let me ask Ganesh. What is the has a relation?
Yes, actually we are having two main classes like employee,
Mm-hmm.
and we are having you declared like address as EMP address. So we are relating the main class employee with with the address class.
Okay. Okay. So when to go for has a relation, when to go for is a relation? Anyone?
If you want to inherit the properties of the parent to child, then we have to use is a relation.
Mm-hmm. So there are two entities like employee and address. They are different entities. There is no relation between them, right? So when you don't have a relation, when you don't find a relation between these two entities, we'll go, but you need to make use of the two. So then we'll go with the has a relation. But you find some relation will be there, like a parent child, where you have inheritance relation. So we will go with the is a relation, right? Here also we are achieving code reusability. Yes or no, guys? So so I have written only once the for employee class I have written address only once. For even address class also I have written only once. So I'm also started making use of the code reusability. Not only like this, you can take any example. You can take any example. The main purpose of this has a relation or is a relation is code reusability. What is that, guys? Code reusability. Any doubt? Okay, so try to understand super keyword now. So do you guys understood about this keyword, right? Anyone has a doubt about this keyword? We have talked about this keyword. This keyword represents the current object. Current object. So if you're specifying this means here the current object ID. If you say if you want to call other constructor by using this, we will call. If you want to call other constructor use from this constructor by using this, what will represent in this you call that. If you want to call any method existing, you can use a this dot or you cannot also, not a problem. So you can use this, you can use or not. But the same way there is something called super. There is something called super. The super is you can use suppose you want to call a super class constructor. Let's say my super class constructor when you have a easy relation when you, sorry guys, when you have a easy relation then only will go with the super. What is that? Let's look at here parent and inheritance demo. In inheritance demo I have something called assets and I have a parent asset and child asset, right? Suppose let's say here I don't want to hard code, I want to create asset every time. Okay, so what I will do, I will create some constructor. I will create some constructor. Okay, so this constructor will be assigning the value, so I'll be passing here. Here you take Java, you can pass some value here. Sorry, you can pass some values. Okay, but here the ID should be this. Maybe it's a bigger value. Okay, so let me take out some more. So now here I'm calling my own constructor. If I want to call my parent class constructor, I'll use this. See here, when I say this, it will go ahead and call your parent class. But anyway, I don't have any parent class constructor here. Let me call my parent class constructor. Let me create a parent class constructor. Let me create a parent class constructor. So your parent class has a one constructor. Now this has a parameter constructor, right? Your parent has a parameter constructor. Now let's look at guys here. From my child class, I want to call my parent class constructor. From child class, I want to call my parent class constructor. What are the parent class? It has the ID, name and asset. ID, name and asset. 101, comma. I'm going to say name because I need to call, right? I need to create a parent class object, some value. Okay. Now look at guys what's happening when I call the when I call super using parameters, this will go to respective super class which has a parameter. The parameter should be match. You may have one more constructor. You may have one more constructor. You can have any number of constructor. That's called constructor overloading. But it should not have a sorry guys. You can have any number of constructors. We have seen empty constructors. 0 default values. Default it's a long or it's int, it's a double. So 0.0t. Now in this case I don't need to hard code because anyway if you hard code also it will be overridden. If you hard code also it will be overridden. So no need to hard code because while creating object itself you are passing. While creating object itself you are passing. Now look at guys here. I can have one more constructor. See from here itself you can call your parent. Okay. So doesn't mean that you cannot create a parent object here. Parent p equal to new parent of you can have like this parent p1 equal to new parent of you can select which parent with the ID with the name salary you can call like this. Okay, but this is like a normal you're creating a normal object of other class in other class. You're creating just an object in other class, but if you want to access your parent class constructor you have to use super with the if it has a parameters you have to pass a parameters. If you don't have a parameters you should not pass a parameters. Okay, let me show you without parameters how we can call. And it means I'm just calling my parent class constructor. Look at guys here. If I call this, it will call my parent class which don't have a arguments. But if I call this, it is getting called which has an argument constructor. Okay. This is called calling a parent class constructor from the child class. So make sure that your super has to be first line of the constructor. The super has to be first line of the constructor. Sir, if we say super is the first line of the constructor and this also has to be first line of the constructor, so how it is, sir? So that's why we cannot call super and this in single constructor. Either you have to call your parent constructor or a child current class constructor. You cannot have a both in a single constructor. Please try to remember guys, you cannot have this and super in a single class constructor, in a single class. in a single class. Okay, not only this, you can also access your parent class method, you can also access your parent class variables. We can You can also, by using super keyword, you can if you want to access your parent class method, you can say super dot and that method name. If you want to access the variable, super dot, and you can access them. Okay, we will see them tomorrow, but I want you guys to go through them and try an example, and please send me an example. Okay, with a super demo. So we create one class as a super demo and try to access your parent class variable methods, and try to print them values, and show me that. Yeah, so that's it for today. If you guys have anything, please ask me this, guys. So when you try to print your parent here, what it will do, it will try to look for this object. In this object, is there any toString method? It look for in this object. What is this object? Parent object. Is there toString method in the this object? If you have a toString method, that output will be printed. If you don't have a toString method, it will just print the some garbage value. That's not garbage value. That address of your object. That is a hash code. That's the address of your object. When I say my address, in this my address object, it will try to look for the toString. Yes, toString is there. ToString has been override. Okay, then print this content. Okay, toString is
Okay.
pretty simple, guys. Nothing. ToString means you are converting your object into string. How you will convert? Like this. Student name. You are printing one value, one value, one value. Suppose if you want to print the same value, how will you print? Like this you only will print, no? If you see the line number 51, line number 1, 51, 52, 53, these three lines. If you want to print your object, how will you do? My id dot student number, my id dot, my address dot street name, my address dot city, my same thing, right? Same thing. Where how we are printing in this main method, the same thing we are writing in the toString method. The same thing we are writing in the toString method. Here I used my address. Why? Because this is an object. Inside the object, I started getting the value. But here, this is outside the main method. See, the main method is a static method. Okay, inside the static method, non-static variables cannot be accessed. We have discussed this. These are all non-static variables. House number, street name. These are all non-static variables. These are all non-static variables. So you cannot access those non-static variables in the main method directly. You cannot access the non-static variables in the main method directly because your main method is a static. Your non-static variables cannot be accessed directly into static methods. So I can access through object. Non-static variables you can access through object. So that's why I'm using object here. Otherwise I can directly access them. Clear? Clear, guys? Ganesh?
Yeah. Yes, Ravi. Thank you.
Yeah. That's it, guys. That's it for today. So we will talk tomorrow. We'll continue from tomorrow. We'll see more about super tomorrow, and we'll discuss more. Hey Nikesh, you join now, huh?
You didn't get the recording for yesterday, I think.
No, I have shared it. I have shared it. Masood, please look at here. Yesterday night I have shared.
Okay,
The
okay,
one.
I'll check it.
Yeah. And today also I'll share this rest of the today's video also. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Hey Nikesh, you join now. What happened?